Hello friends.
Hello.
Good morning. Yes, I intentionally said that. The morning was good, no? We started meeting and it started first time Tizen Developer Summit in Bangalore. So morning must be good. So it's a good morning. Yeah. So I'll be taking you through the first half of this session, which reads Get an edge to your web application with core APIs and Tizen Advanced UI. In short, TAO. So in this session, I will be talking about Tizen web applications and Tizen device APIs and Tizen Advanced UI. Uh, for this particular session, I will be with you for the first part where I will be describing on Tizen web applications, and my friend Suchin Chauta will take you through the rest of the session, which is on Tizen device API and TAO. Actually, just I finished one session on Tizen web application. Perhaps this session is a kind of continuation of that, and what we explained and perhaps have understood so far, a Tizen web application is a container of HTML file, CSS files, JavaScript files. Again, I am telling these things very generally. I mean, it may not, it is not mandatory to have CSS resources for your application, neither it is mandatory to have JavaScript. But in generality, we can say a web application is a package or a container of HTML file, CSS file and JavaScript file, which is written with an intention that it will get installed and executed on various kinds of devices on various platforms with various resolutions. For example, it could be a mobile phone, it could be a wearable device, it could be a TV. Now, let us try to understand little more on the packaging of such a web application which is intended to be written for multi-platform purposes. The packaging that we follow in case of Tizen for a web application is nothing that Tizen has invented from scratch. It is actually a format that is inherited from W3C specification. So, let me first introduce you to W3C web application packaging format, which tells a web application necessarily should have these things. Number one, it should have an extension of .wgt. W3C calls web applications as widgets. So, that is why the extension is .wgt. It also tells for a web application we must have one configuration document, which is mandatory to have. Apart from that, that web application package will contain some localized contents under some folders and some unlocalized content under the root folder. This is as per W3C. Let us look at the packaging vis-a-vis Tizen. In this side, I am showing the packaging as per W3C, and this side it shows the packaging as per Tizen. If you look little carefully on this content, you can easily notice the content wise things are more or less similar in both the specification. Perhaps things are little more organized in case of Tizen. What I mean by organized, you see in case of Tizen, the JavaScript files are kept under a folder named JS. The CSS files are again kept under a folder named CSS. Likewise, Tizen also combines all the images required by web application in a subfolder named images. Otherwise, philosophically these two things are similar. Apart from this content, below we can see something called signature file. I mean, just for interaction purpose, I would like someone from you to guess why should I need something like signature file for this web application package. Yes, sir. What is it? Okay. That might not be very related with respect to this signing I am talking about. As your name, sir? Yeah, as Abraham said, this purpose of this signature file is to know who is the developer. That is one purpose. He has rightly mentioned that is one purpose. There is one follow up purpose kind of thing. Since I know it is Abraham who has developed this application, I know these are the things I can allow Abraham to do. That is secondary purpose. One is to know who is it, and other thing is to give certain things to be done by to the developer. So, the signature actually allows the platform to control the access to the platform capabilities from the web application based on the web application identity. That is why these signature files are very important. Note that these are not mandatory. With the absence of signature file, we treat things as untrusted, but definitely no developer would like to be untrusted. But you need not worry, even for untrusted people, we are little liberal and we allow them to do few things. Now, let us move on to the most important part of this configuration, this web app packaging, which is the configuration document or the file named config.xml file. As you see in this diagram, Tizen has inherited the idea of config.xml from W3C, and what it has done, it has added its own elements, own features to this config.xml under the Tizen namespace. We would like to see what all these things are. To explain you these things better, let me take you through one sample configuration document which is perhaps not very visible from here. Okay, is it visible? Okay, fine. So, this sample configuration document, it is under a root element named widget. This root element widget is taken from W3C. So, Tizen just reuses the same element and it does one thing extra. It introduces the Tizen namespace for its own purpose to extend this config.xml file. I have declared the shown the Tizen namespace at Tizen XMLNS, that is a Tizen namespace. Apart from that, it also adds the ID attribute, the version attribute and the view modes for this application. Followed by this important widget element which is a root element, there comes Tizen application element, which is a Tizen extension, but remember this is a mandatory element, meaning without this element your web application is not going to get installed. So, this is an important extension. In this Tizen application element, we declare the package ID of the web application, we declare the application ID of the web application, and very importantly we also declare the version, minimum version of Tizen API that is required by this web application to work properly. Next comes the content element. It is again a standard W3C element, Tizen has reused it, wherein it is used to specify the start file of the web application, meaning from which file the execution of the application will start. Now, with this element I would like to pause for a moment to introduce a very interesting application category that Tizen has introduced. Those applications are called hosted web applications. Now, as a web developer, since you are using web pages, someone could be interested to reuse some of the existing web pages, remote web pages. For example, one person may be very interested to create one Rajasthan Patrika application, but he cannot write a Rajasthan Patrika application on his own. What could be simply he do? He can just use the Rajasthan Patrika remote website and pack it as web application and create a web application. Just to enable a developer to do such things, Tizen has introduced something called this Tizen content element. With this Tizen content element, any developer can specify a remote web page as a web application's start page, and the web application in that case becomes a package hosted web applications. Now, this is very interesting. So, with a very less effort you can create your own web application, okay? But there are few restrictions, few things you should be aware or be careful about these web applications. Number one, these web applications, with such kind of web applications, all the resources, all the web resources should be present in remote server, and since it is using the resources from remote servers locally, it really needs very minimal resources, perhaps only the config.xml and the signature file, which is again optional. Apart from that, there are few other very important restrictions. Number one, you can specify this hosted application start page only using Tizen content element, only using Tizen content element, only content element cannot specify this. Second thing is that since this is web application and which is hosted, all the pages must be remote, means you cannot do a mix and match of remote and local pages. Okay. Second thing is that from that remote page we allow API access, but only standard W3C and HTML5 APIs will be allowed from that remote page. The last but not the least restriction, you have to remember, although this is a packaged web application which will be locally installed, the origin of this application while in execution will be same as the origin of the remote page that you have mentioned as the start page. With this, I will move on to explaining the configuration. Yes, please.
We have a remote web application. Can I link to another website from it? At least, I am just concerned if it conflicts with the last point.
No, it does not conflict.
No, let me say that I have a remote application hosted at example.com.
Okay.
On my Tizen phone, I mentioned that is my source.
Yes, correct.
Now, on example.com, for other reasons, I might say, now please access example2.com.
Yeah, it's possible.
So,
that is possible. That is, as far as that is allowed by your cross origin policy, that is allowed, no problem. Because as soon as the control goes to the remote side, it is a remote. That is what the last point exactly means. Although it is locally packaged, locally installed, it is actually a remote page that gets executed when you launch that application. Next comes one important element which Tizen again reuses from W3C, which is feature element, whose sole purpose is very different from what W3C has told. Its purpose is to filter out applications based on the features the applications they are using. Okay. The next comes a very important element, very critical. We are talking about web applications which will be accessing web capabilities, platform capability through web APIs, but all these accesses are controlled, meaning just you think that I will access, you cannot get access. First thing you have to declare, you have to tell what all things you want to access, but does not mean that you tell and I will give you access, but at least first you have to tell, okay, I want to do these things. Only when you tell based on what you have told and what I can allow based on your identity, it will be decided actually what all things are allowed for you. Even basic internet access from web application is restricted using internet, these privileges, unless from 2.3 version, unless you have the internet privilege specified, a web application cannot even access the internet. Next comes one very important element, which is app control. This app control's purpose is whenever you being a web developer may be interested to expose some of your application capability for other guys to use, meaning you want to expose some of your application functionality for other application to use. I will give a simple example. You perhaps have developed one image editor application, okay, and the application is capable to do image editing on its own, standalone. When it is launched, it can do image editing. At the same time, since it is image editing application, you want to provide that image editing capability to other applications as well, and this is the element that you must be using if you want to expose capabilities for other applications to use. Okay, let us try to understand what exactly this app control is. Whenever any web application wants to expose any functionality, it must declare its intent, its wish through this Tizen app control element, and the app manager will understand, okay, this entity wants to allow others to access this facility. Now what happens when other application wants to do such a thing, it is the app manager who knows what all application is capable to do this thing. It checks the registry and accordingly finds out, okay, this application is able to do that and launches that application. That is exactly the purpose of this app control element. So let us look at this app control element once again to understand this image editor use case. what you have to first do this in this app control element, very importantly you have to tell what is the operation you want to expose, that is specified using the Tizen colon operation element, where you specify the operation ID using the name attribute. These operations could be some standard operations that Tizen had already exposed, like view, pick, edit, call, like that, or you can use your custom operation ID. Apart from that, this application also tells which is a file within the application package which is responsible for handling that edit operation. It tells through the Tizen colon source element. It tells this is the edit.html file which is responsible for doing the edit operation. Lastly, it also needs to tell what all files it can operate on. In this case, it tells using the Tizen colon mime and Tizen colon URI, it tells it is capable to edit image files. What kind of image files? Which are of local origin. URI scheme should be file. Now let us move on to the last but not least, at the same time very important element called Tizen colon setting element. I would like to re-emphasize on fact this configuration document controls the configuration of one web application, which is one time configuration, meaning once done it is done, you cannot change it. But at the same time you would like to have some one time configuration done through this configure.xml. For example, you might always want your application to be launched in landscape mode. For example, yours is a game application, always you want your application to be launched in landscape mode. In that case, you can specify the screen orientation attribute and specify it is a landscape. So whenever application is launched, it will be launched in landscape mode. Apart from that, if you want that you do not want to handle context menu in your application, you do not want to provide any context menu, then you can disable using the context menu attribute. You can also tell whether your application needs to continue to execute even when it goes to background or not. That can be done using this background support element attribute. Okay. Next, you might be thinking that I am developing my web application with so much hard work. If it gets installed and someone comes to know my JavaScript, he or she can see and someone can reuse. Tizen has come up with a way even for that. If you want, you can even the content encrypt it, you can do that using this simple attribute. If you mention the encryption to be enabled, then all your content, all your resources will be encrypted and no one can see that. Last but very important thing is install location. You being a developer might be interested to tell to the platform where your application should be installed. Should it be phone memory, should it be SD card, or you want to let it the platform to decide automatically. That can be specified using this install location attribute. Now, by now we perhaps understand this config.xml is a very critical important element, okay, element of web application development, and you are thinking there are so many things I need to control, Baba, I need to remember so many things. It is not like that. Actually, if you see this development process, you being a developer, you have to use our SDK to develop the application. Once done, you upload it to store, from store user gets the application to device, launches it, and this guy is very important, SDK, and he is a kind of your friend. He will take care and guide you, provide you very helpful wizards, so that you can easily configure this config.xml. You do not have to remember which is the element I have to use now, what is the value I should do, you do not have to remember. Using this SDK, you can easily build your application, you can optimize it, you can then sign it, and you are done. Now, this diagram is not very important for a web developer, but still I would like to emphasize on that, because this is a diagram which converges a web application with native application. Because perhaps through the sessions or some idea you might already be know, in Tizen a native application is configured using something called manifest.xml, and you are a web developer, you are not writing manifest.xml. You might be thinking, is there any manifest.xml for web application? If yes, who is writing it? So this diagram clarifies who is doing it. First of all, I would like to tell this part, this is the root of any web application, where all your web application resources goes, and whatever packaging you have created, the structure you have created, that comes here, this side under the root directory resource widget, under this it comes. it also has one executable which is shown on top in blue box, which is the executable which gets executed when you launch your web application, and this executable is not your package that you have written, it is actually a web runtime framework, which in turn creates one sandboxed environment to ensure your web application gets executed securely. And it is the same environment which also ensures that your all widget specific data gets safe here in this directory, no one else can access it. And this same web runtime framework also create the manifest XML file, core XML file under the name package.xml, and it contains all the information that the platform needs for this web application. So it takes care of converting things that you have provided in config.xml, making it to manifest.xml. With this small introduction, I would like to conclude my session on web applications. My friend Suchin Chota will take you to the rest of the session discussing about web application, web APIs and Tau. Thank you very much.
Good evening everyone. Let's start with a Tizen device API. What is Tizen device APIs and what is the use of Tizen device APIs? Before answering this question, what is web APIs? For example, I would like to find latitude longitude of my location. Like for that I use HTML5 at API called navigator.geolocation.getCurrentApplication, so which is nothing but a web API. As you can see in the screen, the middle section, which is all W3 standard APIs. For example, web worker, geolocation, web audio, touch event, web sockets. Yes, as a web application, Tizen web application, we can use these APIs. The section which I shown in the left side, these are all Tizen specific device APIs. For example, application, Bluetooth, calendar, contacts, etc. There are many more device APIs which I am explaining in my next PPT. Next slides. There are few miscellaneous standard APIs. For example, WebGL, typed array, JSON, URI schemes. Yes, even these APIs can be used in your web applications. Now move on to, let's answer what is Tizen device APIs. This set of standard APIs which W3 provides are incomplete, and there are still some development things are going on for these web APIs. These are not enough to develop full-fledged Tizen application. So Tizen introduces several set of APIs that's called Tizen web APIs. So using these APIs we can access several set of device capabilities, and we can perform many of the actions using device APIs. Let's see the overview of device API in Tizen. As you can in the middle circle, there are some main category of device APIs. For example, application, content, communication, social, system, multimedia, and so on. These are like main category of device APIs. For example, I want to access calendar or call history APIs, call history of my device. I should use device API related to social. And as you can see, if I wanted to access LRAM APIs, I need to use APIs related to application. Okay. As you can see, communication comes with messaging, push, and system API using system APIs we can get system related system info related information, sensor related information. So knowing this device APIs, as a developer, can we directly use this device API in your JS file and make use of it? Then it's wrong. We cannot directly use it. To do that, we have to use something called privilege. I think Kaushik Das explained in his previous session what is privileges, how important privileges are. So these are privileges which we need to be included in your config.xml file. For example, I would like to access some file system. I want to read some files from my device. How do I do that? To do that, I need to access some privileges called file system.read. For example, like to fetch some audio files or video files from my device and show it on my web application. To do so, I have to add a few set of privileges in my config file. For example, content.read and content.write. Yeah. So more on these privileges, I think you can go to our Tizen website and check the same. There are lot of information related to privileges so that you can refer and use it in your web application. Next is there are few set of privilege levels are available. I think in a previous section someone asked about partner privilege or public privileges, what it is. The lower level of privilege is untrusted privileges. The application which is packaged as a untrusted uh, privileges comes in the untrusted section, where you can use some with even untrusted web application can make use of some of the APIs called location, web notification, media capture. These are standard APIs that comes under W3 standard. Next level of privilege is in public privileges. So how do I get this public privileges? So whenever you package your application, build your application using Tizen SDK, you get a public level of privileges. So some of the examples are alarm APIs, alarm application, Bluetooth, calendar, call history, contact files, etc. So next set of APIs is a partner level of privileges. Yes, these privileges are given to partners. So to get a partner privileges, there are few set of process involved. So maybe I think in a different session they might be covering that type of partner privilege. How do you get that partner privileges for web application developers? The top level is a platform privilege, that is Bluetooth. So using platform privilege, we can access Bluetooth manager, lock manager, package manager, setting manager, etc. Let's take an example. Let's build an application using content device API. Let's take a use case. I would like to fetch some of the video from my device and show it on my web application. So when I click on my image, the image should be projected in an image viewer. So I should launch an image viewer and show it on the image viewer. It's like image viewer is a native application. So from the web application, I'm launching a native application, that is the image viewer. So how do I do this? Let's start with what is content API. Content API allows you to discover images, video files or audio files from the device, which is also allows you to search like contents like images or audio files using filters, which is also used to set the attributes for content elements. So to use this content API, as I explained in my previous slide, you need to add these two privileges in your config.xml file. Okay, that is content.read and content.write. Let's talk about how do you in JavaScript, how do I call this content API? Let's create a filter type for the first. In the first line I was shown the filter type, which is actually where I am specifying that the type is exactly an image. So I wanted to get only images from the device and show it on my web application. So I am creating an attribute filter which is actually type exactly image. In case of I wanted to get any video files, instead of image I will be placing it as video text over here. So this is the main API, that is tizen.content.find, which gets the images from my device. The filter which I am passed, which I created in the first line, I will be passing on to the tizen.content.find API. That is the fourth parameter of the API. The last parameter which I passed is a sort mode. So once I get the images, I need to sort the images in the ascending order of the title. That is what I specified in the last section of the last parameter of the device API. There are two more callback functions which I passed, that is success callback and failure callback functions. Success callback will be triggered once I get all my contents which from the device. So error callback will be hit if there is any issue of getting the contents from the device. Let's point on the next section of the this sample app, that is launching an image viewer. So in this case I will be creating an app control using tizen.appcontrol API, where I am passing a app control operation as view, because I am going to view this image in my image viewer. Along with this I will be passing some more parameters as URL path, like an absolute path of an image, followed by MIME type, that is image in this case. So I will be passing that app control as the first parameter for my launch app control device API. Okay. So there are two more callbacks here, that is open file success callback and a failure callback. So if you are able to launch the image viewer successfully, you will get this callback gets triggered. In case of failure, yes, yeah, it will be get triggered. Now what about this app control reply callback? What is the use of this third callback function? This the main use of this is like whenever the control comes back from the image viewer and back to your web application, this section of callback will be triggered, as you can see, which is followed by two more objects called on success and on failure, which again does the same on success callback or a failure callback. Let me show a quick demo on this. So as I explained, are you able to see this? So this is my config.xml file where I am putting my name, image, title as image gallery, and some privileges which I added here, as I explained in my slides, content.read and content.write. So this is the config part of the demo application. This is my HTML contents. So I will be having a meta tag which specifies some device width as a device width and height as device height. This is mainly for the responsive layout. There is my div element, which is where the section of HTML code where I am going to show my HTML content, that is my image elements. So JS file where I am pure all application logic will be written. This is my Tizen.content.find. This is an API which I use to get the content from the device. So which is passed with find success callback, failure callback, filter type, and sorting mode, as I explained in my slide. The filter type, I define my filter type here with attribute filter type exactly image. This is my filter type. So two more success callback functions on find item success and my failure callback functions. This is my success callback function. So once I get the success callback, I will getting array of objects in the item in this section. So once I get the data, I will be through a loop, I will run through the loop of the array and display the image content on my HTML div element. And this is the So on clicking so I am also attaching an event listener to click. When you click an image, I wanted to launch the image viewer. So I am attaching an event listener to click event, attaching event listener for a click event. So open image is a function which does the second section of the demo, that is launching an image viewer. The MIME type, which I am specifying here, the image. So MIME type will be passed to the main launch app control device API. This is my success callback functions, app launcher reply callback function. So this section is purely on all the callback I am written in a set of this one. Yeah, this is again on launching success callback and failure callbacks. So this is purely. So I will be showing us. Let's see how it will be displayed in an emulator. Yeah, this is the application. I am getting all the images from the device and showing it on my web application. This is my web application, which actually retrieves all the images from the gallery and show it on my screen. On clicking on this, I would like to launch the image viewer on the screen. Yes, the image viewer will be shown here. This is a simple example to know how to use content device APIs. I think you can close this. Can you please close this? So the topic which I covered till now is a pure application part of it. So now comes one of the important thing, that is UI part of it. So UI is one of the important aspect of any web application development, even Tizen or any other application. So what Tizen provides for you to develop a good, fantastic UI, that is TAU, the Tizen Advanced UI Framework. TAU is a standalone which gives you speed, maximum performance, the application launching, which is be one of the key factor of TAU. So application launcher will be very faster. Next one, it is a HTML5 compliance, which provides various kinds of components, which as a developer can just use it and develop an application. I will be explaining about the components in my next slide. This is just to know where exactly TAU stands, which stands exactly below web application. Okay, TAU is jQuery mobile based UI framework, which provides multiple UX and animation, supports localization, scaling, that is nothing but responsive layouts. So responsive, using TAU, the designing of a responsive layouts is one of the, which is very easy. Let's see the how to create a UI template using TAU. So first, the section which I highlighted in the first thing, that is like nothing but a meta tag, where I am specifying width and height as device width and height. Yes, which is mainly used for scaling and responsive layout kind of a thing. The next section where I'm highlighted, which is I'm going to include two JS files and style file, that is style CSS files. For example, tau.js and tau.css. All my HTML content will be placed in the body section of the HTML file. So this is how we can start with TAU application. Let's create a simple page layout. How easy to do that? This simple section of the div element with data role header will give a simple header for you. A div element with data role content will give you a content element, the content section of a page. A div element with data role footer gives a footer for you. So this is a simple example of creation of page layout. There are multiple components can be used as a part of your web application development. So as I said, there are multiple UI components are available as a part of TAU. For example, auto dividers, buttons, checkbox radio buttons, collapsible list view, divider list view, and pop-up. So to create a pop-up, which is very easy in case of, we just have to use the component or CSS properties which TAU provides, and you can build an application using that. Next set of components like slider, gallery, fast scroll, flip toggle switch, and datetime picker. Suppose I wanted to, when I clicking on a input element, I need to launch native date picker. So using this, it is possible. Yeah. Let's make a simple context pop-up, and how easy to do that, which looks like this. When I clicking on this touch me button, I need to pop up a small section of element which is having two elements called class close and update button text. So how to do this in an easy way? As you can see, the div element with data role pop-up, which gives the section, which I displayed highlighted here, which is having data role pop-up, which gives me a section like this. So also I have created a button using anchor tag with the data role equal to button. So there is no JS involved in this. So when if you execute this HTML component, you get an UI element as you can see in the screen. So when I clicking on the touch me button, this section of code will be executed and shown to user. So which is very simple. So I don't have to write a single JS code for that. Let's take one more component, that is slider. I wanted to create a normal slider. When I touch and drag, you should drag it. It's a normal slider. So how do I do this? So we need to create a simple input element with data pop-up false and type equal to range, value 5, and minimum maximum value. This is not specific to TAU, which is purely HTML5 attributes. So with this data pop-up false will give a simple normal slider for you. So how about creating a slider which is having a small pop-up which shows some progress value for you? Like when I click and drag it, we should show some progress value for you, which is very simple. The data pop-up, the input element with data pop-up equal to true. So, the previous normal slider has data pop-up equal to false. In this case, I just have to make data pop-up equal to true. So, which will give a small progress value as a pop-up. So, this is like some UI samples which is designed using TAU, like auto dividers, buttons, several set of buttons are available as a part of TAU, and as I have shown you some date picker elements and checkbox elements, several set of checkboxes. So, which we can use it in your application, and some list elements, and as I said, this is an auto divider which is having divided using alphabetical order. So, like this there are multiple components are available as a part of TAU. So, thank you so much. I think if any questions you can please ask. Kaushik Das, you can come on to stage. So, any questions on device APIs or TAU, feel free. Yeah. Okay. Your remote, no. In that case, you cannot access it, because as you said, it's like a hosted web app, which Kaushik explained.
Yeah, there you can only access standard WCC HTML5 APIs, not Tizen web APIs.
Yeah, there is a standard API for camera API.
Yes, we can use it. Anything comes under device API which is specific to Tizen, that we cannot use it. Yeah.
Yes, please. Yeah.
If I want to access the Wi-Fi or Bluetooth hardware, like in the previous API release, only we can access either we switch on or switch off the Bluetooth or Wi-Fi.
Correct. Correct.
But if I want to enable the device discovery or anything, I am not able with the web APIs.
Yeah. So.
Is it available in the latest API? This is 2.3.1 or whichever is going to release next.
You mean to say even using the Bluetooth manager or Wi-Fi
yeah,
manager?
I want to completely access the Bluetooth manager.
Yeah, so as he has shown in his slides, to access Bluetooth manager you need to have platform privileges.
No, but in the previous API, even if I provide the platform.
No, you cannot provide platform, it cannot be provided. Only platform developers will have the privilege.
Okay, and if I want to gain that access, how can I?
You have to be a platform developer.
Yeah, definitely.
Actually, it is meant for the guys who are writing web application as part of platform development. As of now, I don't know, there might be some plan, there is no such guideline I have so far received.
No, I am working for Samsung already, Samsung Noida.
Yeah.
Okay, and if we are developing some B2B kind of project.
Yeah.
Definitely, and I need a.
No, if you are a Samsung employee which is already a partner of the Tizen forum, you can do it internally. There is a process for that. You need to have access, special access, then only you can do that. There is a special process that you need to follow.
I can generate the platform access key, but I can't even with their privilege, I am not able to work with that API.
I mean, what is the problem you are facing?
No, it is not allowing any access, means it is not working.
No, that means perhaps your access is not proper. When you say you are able to call the API but you are not able to control, there is definitely an access problem.
Okay.
It is a security issue then. You still don't have proper privilege that you need to write such things. You can be a Samsung employee,
yeah,
but you have to understand how you are trying to develop the app at home,
no,
in office, for office purpose.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, then we can take it, say for example, as part of Tizen platform development, we can try to get a platform privilege. There is a process for that. Once you have that, I don't think there is a problem in accessing.
Where can I refer with if for the procedure?
I perhaps even Suchin are not the right person to tell how we can exactly get platform privilege. There will be separate session. Maybe Madhavi Akella, when develop session, she can clarify how we can get platform privileges.
Okay,
I mean, I personally, sorry to say that I don't know exact process, but I think there is some approval process that you need to go through to get the platform privilege.
Okay.
It is very restricted since it's not allowed to everyone. Yeah.
I have a question regarding hosted web application.
Yes, please.
If the remote website is not mobile optimized,
Yeah.
can I provide a local copy of a bootstrap file and my own style sheet and
Well,
make it mobile optimized?
No, you
within the app?
cannot. You cannot access it. I mean, as I said, it's not possible to have mix and match of local and remote.
Okay.
Once it goes to remote, it's remote, fully remote. It has to be.
all
If
the
you want
content
to do
has to
such
be-
thing, then perhaps you have to host another server in the same origin of yours, and from that you can control perhaps. But
Thank
you
you.
cannot come put that CSS resource in the device and get it controlled. Yeah.
Then
Actually, I have one question.
Yes, please.
Maybe it's okay.
yeah.
See, what you mentioned is regarding encryption.
Yeah.
My question is, if you use encryption, does it impact the performance?
No,
Because every time you have to decrypt the file.
that we have already taken care in the platform. It's,
How exactly it works internally? Like you will be storing in OPT user, that will be encrypted file.
web runtime internally takes care of that.
That's what I want to know. How exactly?
Okay, I think for that you have to go in little more detailed discussion. Perhaps we will take it offline. Yeah.
For hosted apps, I'm not sure if this was taken in answered in the previous session, but what are the debugging tools you provide if we wanted to just see why our app is running or not?
No, it is.
I mean, for Tizen specific.
Yeah. So
For debugging,
debugging any application, be it hosted, be it non-hosted, be it local, whatever, debugging process is exactly the same. The online, the debugger that comes with the SDK, using the same debugger, you can.
so which is
control it.
nothing but a
But-
Chrome debugger. Yeah.
But
Does it have all the features of that, including UI experimentation and all?
Everything, whatever Chrome debugger gives, right? Everything they pop up with the Chrome debugger will come.
One thing I like about the Chrome debugger is that I can edit the HTML live right there. on
Same.
the
yes,
page.
same
Same
thing.
applies
all
here.
those features
But
I
I am wondering if the page is actually hosted, how you will really get that content in the while debugging SDK to debug.
That's there in Chrome browser actually. Even if it is hosted, you get a local cache before the. See, you have to download.
Yeah, correct.
the
correct.
file
You can
locally.
follow exactly the same approach. No, no difference. Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the
Same.
same thing. Actually, the look and feel, the features that are available are exactly like Chrome debugger.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Then
Anything else? Yeah, please.
How do you take care of personal information security on devices which support Tizen? Personal information means
Yeah. Can you be a little more specific? If you
on
can
a
give me an
TV
example.
On a TV, it could be the channels that you access, information about what channels you access.
Okay.
On a mobile, it could be what what sites you accessed. and
Okay.
so
You first of all, I would like to reiterate: web applications don't run on its own. It is the web runtime framework, the executable, that takes care of executing of web applications. So web application on its own is not executable. It is another framework component that makes the web applications run. So it's already sandboxed. So anything cannot spill over this sandbox. So web runtime takes care of ensuring the privacy and security of any of your web information.
I saw that the file access and all that.
Yes, yes, yes.
Does it prevent you from accessing some information like the channel information on a TV? There might be APIs.
Yeah, correct. So if it, that's what I'm telling. If it is API, if you have privilege to do that, you can access that. Then that's not insecure access in that case, because everything is controlled through privileges. If you have permission to do that, it's not an insecure access. It's already secure.
That comes through this.
Yeah, privileges and all. Yes. So you have to remember everything is sandboxed through web runtime framework. This is perfectly secure. It cannot go beyond the boundary of security that web runtime has created. It's caged there. Yeah. Any further question?
chalo. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you
Thank you,
very
guys.
much. Yeah. Yeah. Please.
Through the discovery API, can I be able to search the text files in the device?
Yeah. Even you can search text files.
Which content APIs?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So content are not limited to multimedia content, right?
Content API, Tizen.content API, where you can access only images, video files, audio files.
Text files cannot be run.
No.
Okay. So
But
sorry.
to another access a text file, you need to use file system APIs.
Oh.
Okay. Content is specifically for multimedia files.
Thank you.